As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Hey guys, we have a breaking new update. I'm Bullhorn Betty and I've been covering the case of Sebastian Rogers since March 2024, shortly after the incident happened. At Night Intelligence Agency has come in along with Dog the Bounty Hunter, who they partner with on several different cases. Sebastian Rogers is a 15-year-old autistic boy that disappeared from inside his locked home on February 26 around 12 midnight to 6 a.m., according to his mother. New images and videos are being released about this case now. Stay tuned. Breaking new video is being released. Check this out. This is Sebastian Rogers and his mother, Katie Proudfoot, sitting at the Texas Roadhouse Grill on February 25th, 2024 at 6 o'clock at night, appearing to be eating dinner and chatting amongst each other. What you notice is Katie picking up the phone and taking photos of Sebastian where it appears he doesn't know he's being photographed. The entire time that they're eating at this restaurant, it appears Katie is occupied by her phone and not really paying much attention to her son, except to snap these photos. And why were these photos not released to the public when he went missing on February 26th? Please look over the footage and let me know if you see anything out of the ordinary. Please send any information that you have related to this video to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. That's bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Sebastian Rogers has not been seen again by a third party since this video was captured. He was reported missing the next morning at 6:33 a.m. by his stepfather that was 3 hours away in Memphis, Tennessee. Allegedly, when Katie woke up at 6 a.m., Sebastian was not in his bed. Many people speculate and assume that the mom and stepdad had something to do with his disappearance. There was 5 CPS reports. One of those reports are still active. Their behavior has been odd since his disappearance. And we've learned recently that Katie and Chris have been trying to find a place to put Sebastian since October of 2022. Since he disappeared, they have hired the most vile people to work for them, to cause distractions, to cause reputational and personal harm to those searching for their son. We're also learning that another affiliate of the mom and stepfather have filed suit against the father of Sebastian Rogers, the only person that has been searching for him from the family. He is brought in at Night Intelligence Agency as well as Dog the Bounty Hunter, and he has worked tirelessly to find answers to bring his son home and to bring his son home safely. The reward being offered by At Night Intelligence Agency as well as Dog the Bounty Hunter has been increased to $225,155 to anybody that has any information leading to the whereabouts of Sebastian Rogers or the successful prosecution of those that are responsible for his disappearance. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this video. Today marks Sebastian Rogers.
Hi, Bullhorn.
Well, good evening, my beautiful people here on YouTube. We've got a very special guest, a friend of mine, Gypsy, that will be coming up here in just a few moments. But I did want to give you guys some of the updates on the Sebastian Rogers case. Although we're here to learn a little bit about Gypsy, we will be dovetailing into some questions because she's been on this journey with us related to Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers since he disappeared. Right now, I know everybody's been a little curious about some updates related to Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, and that is correct. We do have an update from Lesniak as well as At Night Intelligence Agency. And so this one, it just says, this morning I had the privilege of being briefed on engaging discussions between my client, who spoke with officials in Tennessee as they continue their unwavering pursuit of Sebastian Rogers. We anticipate the imminent release of a substantial news announcement later today from Dog the Bounty Hunter through At Night, a private At Night. And so when we go over to At Night, what we read here is Sebastian Rogers, Dog the Bounty Hunter, to announce significant updates in the search for missing Tennessee teenager Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. This is on December 12th, which is today. Dog the Bounty Hunter, in collaboration with At Night, is poised to deliver a pivotal update regarding the search of 16-year-old Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, following the transmission of critical findings to Tennessee authorities. This development marks a significant moment in the ongoing investigation. All relevant parties are committed to ensuring transparency, believing that the public deserves a thorough understanding of the ongoing search efforts. The update will clarify the progress made and outline what information should be broadly shared to advance the search rather than hindering it. This action emphasizes a collective commitment to raising public awareness and soliciting assistance in the pursuit of Sebastian's safe return. These are some good updates because we're hearing a lot of safe return, renewed faith, and seems like there's an energized tone between the father, the biological father, Seth Rogers, and Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. So I just wanted to just touch base. I know everybody here was talking potentially about these new updates that are coming out. Those are the updates that I can see. I would say hi to everybody, but we already have almost 700 people in chat right now. So I just want to thank the newest members. Shelly Tompkins, welcome to this crazy crew we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Michelle Vincent donated a gifted one Bullhorn Betty membership. So if you received your Bullhorn Betty membership, please don't forget to tell Michelle thank you. And Elizabeth just came in with thank you, Betty, for all you do. Thank you so very much. We do have a goal. You guys know I have been working tirelessly on this John Benet Ramsey. And I swore I wasn't going to show you or give you guys a sneak peek whatsoever, but I will show you a very small clip of the video if we reach our goal. Sonia, thank you so much. God bless you. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring up our friend and lovely supporter of the Bullhorn Betty channel, Gypsy. We're going to learn a little more about her and a little more about her channel. So please stay tuned as we get this, we get to know Gypsy just a little bit better. Well, good evening, my love. How are you doing?
I'm actually doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I am doing very, very well. It's nice to see your lovely face. We haven't seen each other in quite some time.
No, it's been a month. Yeah, it's been a
Yeah,
month.
it's been a
Wow.
month.
That
Yes,
is a long
yes,
time.
yes. So if everybody doesn't know, this is Gypsy. My mods are going to be putting down her channel in the chat. So if you guys haven't been over to her channel, please consider going over to her channel and subbing up. I also have a question in chat asking whether you've subbed up. And we know many of you are, oops, I'm heading over there right now to do that. So further ado, tell us a little bit about yourself.
About me. Well, I'm from Minnesota, where it's very, very cold right now, by the way.
It's cold
I
here in
hear
Florida. I can't imagine.
everybody says, "Oh, it's so cold." And then they put, like 32 or 45, and I'm like, "Yeah, last night it was 2." So,
Oh,
there's a little bit of a difference.
yes,
Um,
yes. I'm complaining today. I woke up at 42 degrees.
Well, oh, see, but you have thin blood. You're not used to it.
I have Florida blood.
Yeah, exactly. I have Minnesota blood. I'm pretty used to that. That would be hot for me.
Gotcha,
I,
gotcha. So tell us a little bit about your channel and how people can find you.
well, I'm on Hope in the Shadows, and I'm on the YouTube, and I unfortunately can't remember how it. I do know it's Gypsy Nielsen Hits,
Okay.
HITS.
Well, you don't have to worry about it. My mods will put it down in the chat for you.
Hmm.
What brought you to YouTube?
Well, I've been a user of YouTube for a very long time. Mostly watching legal cases and political things because I really am a legal junkie. I wanted to be an attorney. Um, I unfortunately changed my mind and decided to be a full-time mom, stay-at-home mom instead. So it's a
Aw,
frustration of mine, but it's all good because most fulfilling thing I ever did. So it was the right thing.
there you
But
go. I didn't know that. That's interesting. See, I learned something new about you every time we chat.
that's, well, yeah, I'm kind of an open book, but I've always been into investigations because that's part of the legal process. And of course, Nancy Grace was one of my favorites always. I'm
Love
old,
her.
so I remember when she and I were both young and, just starting out she was on court TV with the OJ trial. That was my first big foray, which was a very long time ago. But
I think
um,
it was a lot of us is the OJ trial. I think that was just a crazy, wild. I mean, think about it. We heard of high speed chases, but never really
right.
a slow speed chase. And if you guys remember, he took off in the Bronco with his friend and
Hmm.
didn't know what to do. I think that brought a lot of us into kind of true crime in a sense.
And quite honestly, I think it got everybody's attention because there was a crime, there was drama involved. Nobody knew who was telling the truth and who was
Right.
lying, and it was right in our face. The first time we got to see like everything about the
Mhm.
case. So that was really interesting to me. And I've always, yep, I'm one of those girls who has the T-shirt that says, you know, after watching a scary movie, I turn on true crime to relax, it helps me sleep.
So, I didn't expect to get on the OJ trial, but since we're here, I might as well ask you, do you think the jury made the right decision?
In a legal standpoint, yes, because I think there was enough and there's one piece for me, and it has nothing to do with the glove or any of that. it was the fact that Van Adder had the OJ's blood sample in his pocket all day long while he was walking around. And that one to me, just like if I were on a jury, that would be my reasonable doubt there, because that would throw everything else into question, you know.
Yeah.
So yes, but no, if that makes sense.
So you feel like he was guilty, but you think the verdict was just based on what was presented.
Exactly.
I'm
Unfortunately.
kind of there with you, but I've always bounced back and forth between him and his son. There was always a piece of me that thought his son is the responsible party because of how he acted and the fact that the glove was a little too small. Now, with the latex glove, maybe a little moisture could have probably had the same effect. But it's always been in the back of my mind, how disgruntled his son was as well.
Yeah, I saw, I didn't really think about that until I saw something not too long ago that was going over that. And I started thinking, well, maybe he didn't do it. Maybe his son did do it. There
Hmm.
is that too.
But I've always thought it was somebody close. I never really
Hmm.
thought it went too far away from them. It was one in my mind, it was always the dad or the son. It was
Hmm.
never anybody else that was in
No,
my mind. It was too brutal, it was too personal. It seemed like somebody that was pretty angry, and you're not going to get that
nope,
from anybody else other than somebody that loves you and cares. As crazy as that
absolutely.
sounds.
That's absolutely the truth. Yeah, so that's what I think about that one.
Yeah. So I actually met you learning about the Sebastian Rogers case, which is kind of
Hmm.
been taking the forefront here on social media, especially on my channel. What brought you in to this Sebastian Rogers case? Can you identify the one thing that pulled you in?
Yes. One day I was watching Nancy Grace, and I hadn't heard about it until then. And it was the first interview.
The
And
one that they're like robots, or was it the
yes,
Seth Rogers one?
it was the one where they're like robots.
Okay.
And but first, I listened to all the stuff that Nancy had to say, and I'm like, wait a minute. His name is Sebastian. He's high functioning autistic. Well, my son's name is Sebastian, and he's my third son, because I have four boys. And he's 25 now, but he is high functioning. He has Asperger's,
Wow.
and
So this kind of hit a little bit close to home for you with all of it.
very, very close to home for me. I mean, I was like, wait a minute. I think I was doing something else at the time, and the TV was on, and I was like, what now? Because it just caught me like right away. And the more I listened to it, the more I was like, I have to go help find this kid. I have to do something, because it just became a big focus of mine after that. Um, it got to the point where I would give my husband updates, and I would say something about it, and my son would be walking by in the hallway, and he's like, I'm right here. I didn't go anywhere. Why? What do you mean you can't find me? And I said, honey, and then I explained it to him. So now when he hears it, he'll just go, oh, the other Sebastian, because he
Oh,
understands, but he started to get into watching the updates and things as well, because he has a personal thing too. So,
so now that I know you have a high functioning autistic boy that's older, I want you to kind of rewind the tape a little bit. I didn't know this, so
mhm,
this is going to kind of come from left field.
mhm.
How was it? How did you handle your son going through puberty, turning into a teenager? How difficult was it, and how did you maintain and handle that?
That I can honestly say was one of the worst times of my life. Not the worst, but one of, because I didn't know how to deal with this child that I love and adore, sweetest little thing. All of a sudden, he's raging for no
Hmm.
reason, like something will set him off. And yeah, he had a few temper tantrums in his time, but not like that. and he started to get, he was already homeschooled, thank goodness, but at that point, but he just, we couldn't reason. We had to wait
Mhm.
until he came down from it and talk to him about it. And then he would spend 3 hours crying because he felt so bad about saying awful things, or, trying to like punch one of his brothers, or, things like that. So, and we've talked about it. This is one thing that he and I talk about a lot still, is getting through that time. And when I started hearing some of the things that were going on, I was like, oh, do I know that? And it's a hard, I, I, I don't ever wish that upon anyone, because it's hard for you as a human, and it's hard for you as a parent to watch your child go through that and not know what to do about it.
Right.
He was, again, late diagnosis as well. We didn't know it until he was in, I have allergies too. So,
It's part of the season, you know.
yes, it is. Um, so he was diagnosed late, and we didn't know. He started, actually, the telltale signs were he wouldn't stay in the classroom. All of a sudden, in, I think it was sixth grade, or I think it was sixth grade, he started leaving the classroom, and going out in the hallway and lying underneath the benches. So we worked with the school, and we worked with psychologists, and he saw a psychiatrist, and we, got the diagnosis. And we just decided after a while, because in Minnesota at the time, there was this dumb thing that for the IEP, which is
Hmm.
behavioral, it in order for him to get some of the actual things that he needed, he would have to be, um, it have a learning disability, because it wasn't labeled as such. And he
Hmm.
doesn't have a learning disability. Um, and he didn't have problems in any, reading, or, high, when I say high functioning, I mean, just like I'm assuming Sebastian also, very intelligent. My guy too. We went to the Renaissance Festival. He almost beat a chess master when he was 4. That's what we were like. Oh, we just thought we had a
I
genius on our hands.
great at games. I mean, that's
Right.
the one
Right.
attribute I seem to, at least identify from patient to patient when it comes to that is the gaming. They like games, they like things that make them think. At least that's what it seems like to me.
I think so. I think it's, games can keep up with their brain, because
Yeah.
he was bored in school, which is why he would leave the classroom and go lay underneath a bench, because
Hmm.
he didn't want to be there. He felt that if you do a problem once, why should you have to do it more than that to
Right. He
demonstrate
didn't
you know it?
quite understand the repetition
Right.
portion of it.
Yep.
Um,
So
with your son and dealing with that, now did you also was your son an eloper, and did your son have problems sleeping?
he had problems sleeping. He was not an eloper. He would leave, but he would leave by telling us that he was going for a walk, and then he would go and do that and then come home. Maybe he needed to clear his head or get air or whatever. But prior,
Gotcha.
that was later teens. Earlier
Hmm.
teens, though, he never left. He didn't do any of that. But definitely, we had problems with sleeping, and
Yeah.
that would have been a sign too.
Was your son also like very reclusive? Because it seems to me like Sebastian didn't. Maybe I've got it wrong, and I'll have to ask you this. Did it seem to you that Sebastian seemed to be in his room a lot when he was home? And is that normal with like? Not that there any of them are the same, but is that similar to the experience that you had with your son?
Yes, he had a select few people that he liked to hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
He always did very well with adults, um, more so than kids his own age. Uh, he could talk to him on a different level, I think. And he didn't have the typical problem like looking in the eyes when having a conversation. He
Mm-hmm.
was that wasn't a big deal for him. And he's never had that part of it. He can be a little awkward, especially around girls still. But you know, he he has had friends. He's always had friends. He was in Boy Scouts. That's the other thing. We did put him in Boy Scouts because they had a lot more patience and there were more kids like him. And my husband became he became a scout leader, and so he was there with them. And so our two younger boys were really involved in scouts, and I think that helped a great deal with learning how to interact with people and not feeling so awkward or out, you know. And thankfully we had a really good group of kids who they all wanted to play games as well. They were all into the same kinds of games, and so they would talk for hours about that. So, and he still has friends that he had when he was 12. Right now, online, he met them online, and he's like this summer we went to um, England to meet his friend that he'd never met before, and that's the one. The two of them have been friends since they were 12. So and they game all the time. They do online, they do play D&D or another version of it, Pathfinder. So they do that online at all hours of the night, I will say, and got to accommodate for different countries. So I think those kinds of things helped in um, not isolating himself. Now he will go in his room and spend a ton of time in there, doing his own things, not wanting to be out with everybody else. But he is talking to his friends while doing it. Discord's a big thing with him. That's how they all communicate. So there is that. And they watch TV together. They just like if you had a roommate, you would watch the same programs and stuff, and they just check in to see who's there and go about their business.
Do you find it odd that Sebastian's 15 years old and doesn't have a whole lot of friends, doesn't seem to ever have anybody over to hang out with, to play with? Was that something, I mean, you had to deal with, or is this different with Sebastian?
um
Or Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers.
uh-huh we call our son Bash, so he's
Oh,
Bashy.
gotcha.
um well, he it one thing that I noticed is that I don't hear about, like, Katie took him to go do this, go
Right.
play chess, go do, it was he on a soccer team. These are the kinds of questions I wonder, because that they have to have an opportunity to meet somebody. And I'm going to honestly say school is not really the place to do that. School can be hectic. Everybody is, think about it. Everybody wants to be popular, or they want to at least be accepted. So they might not be so accepting of other people that are different, or, that do different things or wear different clothes. It's a horrible time to be a child. And
Right.
that doesn't help. But when they're in a situation like, maybe, like scouts, they're all there for the same reason. They're not
Hmm.
there for the other stuff. They already know that, most of the kids at school would call them nerds for being in scouts. So that's not an issue. Um, there's a lot of those kinds of things. Did he have a church group that they went to? I mean, that's another place. There's I did hear that Seth said that he was taking him to go play D&D, and I think
Yeah.
that is that's wonderful. We have a D&D game that we play with, all of us, all six of us play together, and that has kept us all very, very close. We see each other and we talk about it, and so those are the kinds of things that kids need for socializing. You have to find a way to socialize them,
Hmm.
you
Yeah,
know?
you heard a lot of activities, it seemed like, from Seth. He took him fishing, he took him hunting, he took him to the gun range, he, taught him how to swim.
Neat.
So, I mean, it seems like but you never really, you're right, we never really heard those stories from the other side. looking back on this case, I mean, we're 9 months, almost 10 months into this case now. What do you feel was the most complexing, or um, what do you think so far has been the most complex to this case?
The lack of evidence, which to me is the biggest piece of evidence, is that
Hmm.
there isn't anything. Um, I think about, when somebody just goes off, they leave a trail of some sort. Um, and if I mean, I've driven through that neighborhood. I've seen it. If he were on those streets, somebody would have seen him. I don't care if it was 2 o'clock in the morning. Not too
There
long
was
ago, I
enough
took
radiant light coming from surrounding
absolutely
areas that it would pick up a shadow, it would pick up movement, it'd pick up something. And that,
something.
uh, yeah, that's what I wanted to inform people why I did the nighttime view, is because I turned the lights off during the recording and I could still see in front of me.
Right. It is dark, I will say that, but it's not
Yeah,
that dark. And
right.
there's houses that have lights, and that casts lights out on,
Hmm.
so one house may not have their lights on, but another one does, and that's going to give off enough light. And I noticed that there's just no way if he would have gotten out of that area onto the busier streets. Um, when I was there and I took Terry Lynn to the emergency room for her shoulder,
Hmm.
we were waiting for her prescriptions to be done. So we went to Waffle House, and then we thought, well, while we're here, I said, I want to
Hmm.
see around here because it's nighttime. I want to see what it looks like. So I kind of drove around, and I was like, there's tons of people out here. I mean, there's people going to the gas station. There's people going to the convenience store of the gas station. I mean, it's just, it's not, it, I'm not going to say it's a rip-roaring town or anything like that, but
No, but
at two
there's
in the
movement.
morning,
There's people up
yes,
and there's people moving about.
exactly. And there are a lot of cameras. I did note that. So one of those cameras would have had to have picked him up had he been on those streets. It
Hmm.
just, and that bothers me a great deal, that nothing, just nothing. Um, and then if he went into the woods, I got news for you. Those woods are so thick, somebody would have found him. Somebody would have
No,
seen him.
but what is the probability that a kid that has grass allergies, hates dirt, hates bugs, hates noises, hates, being alone, well, not alone, but away from his family, what are the probability of a kid just walking out the door and running straight for the woods?
Well, I
Like,
don't think it's very likely. um,
I mean, I would
uh,
think if he was, if the story was true, and I'm going to say if, and was,
right?
if it was true, you would think that he would take the street or the sidewalk or the roadway because it's the least dirt and there's no grass, and it keep you away from the perceived bugs. And they're
Yes,
trying to say that somehow there was movement in a common area that's grass, bugs, and you can't see.
right. Um, I can't see that he did that. To me, that one would be one of those where I would have to suspend my beliefs going on through
Yeah.
that because it just goes against everything I know. I was in those woods, um, searching, and I will tell you that I would get like so enraged at the brambles. So I can't even imagine what he went through with no shoes. No way. I had
Yeah.
hiking boots and I was miserable. So there's
Yeah.
just no way.
But you said you went into their community, so you got a
Mhm.
chance to get a lay of the land. Is that my understanding?
Yes.
What was your first thought when you saw the neighborhood?
My first thought was it's very quiet. That was, I live in a quiet area, but not that quiet. I
Mm.
didn't I've been past there during the day and at night. So during the day, I didn't really see a whole lot of people out and about. Like people, I think must have stayed in their house.
Hmm.
Um, it was a Sunday, and yeah, I didn't see a lot
So
of
you were by
families
the
out.
community on a Sunday.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. So believe it or not, whether you meant to or not, you kind of got an idea of what it would have
Hmm.
been like that day. Not that it would be
Right.
exactly like, but that was smart. I mean, Sunday.
Hmm.
And so there wasn't too many people. When I was there, I was during the day. I think I saw 3 people outside of their house the whole time, and they were just doing gardening work or something like that. But
Right.
um,
Yeah, that's basically, but it wasn't enough to, I mean, it was a small enough amount to notice. I'm sorry, I
mhm.
have big dogs and they have dog hair everywhere that gets on my lips. So,
I got Delilah. She's making her rounds with dog hair now that it's getting cold.
yeah, I bet. But yeah, there wasn't that many people. I don't know if they just don't enjoy going outside. I mean, I did notice a difference between Minnesota. We moved to Virginia for a little bit for my husband's work, and I
Mhm.
did notice that there, that during the summer, like nobody was outside. Everybody was in with their air conditioning, and we thought that was really odd.
Do you guys get really hot in Minnesota, or does it stay pretty cool?
We do get hot. We get very
Okay.
hot and humid, but
You'd think that I would probably say it's like it's the weather. It moves around, Andra. But I've never been to
no,
Minnesota. Like 'cause
yeah.
North Dakota, it doesn't get too hot there any time of the year.
No, we do get hot, especially in the, where I live. I live in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. So, we do. But
What do you think hot is? What is hot to you?
for me, hot would be like in the 80s, anything above 80s. 90s is very hot. 105 and I've melted, and you can carry me in a bucket. So
That's the
I
one
think
thing
my
I loved
perfect
about pick.
temperature is like 68. That's my favorite temperature.
The only thing I loved about my pickup truck, I had an old beater pickup truck. Actually, it's a decent pickup truck. It was a Ford, but was lining it with when it got too hot and I didn't have a pool outside, lining that thing with a tarp and filling it up with water. Believe it or not, it's redneck as hell, but it works.
It does work. We've done that before when camping. It does work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, kind of dovetailing back to the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case, because this is where I met you. You came into town. We've met a few
Mhm.
times. You've eaten with me. We've discussed the case.
Yeah.
What what do you think the strengths and weaknesses of this case are from where you sit? And what are your possible theories as to, if you'd like to share those, with what's going on with the case?
Um, I think one of the strengths is there are a lot of people that have been looking for him. Um, More so than in most cases. I know that people don't think so because they don't see it every day, but it's been 9 months. Of course, you're not going to see, hordes of people out looking every day. But I've talked to a lot of people who have been out there looking. Then there's also the people who have been calling every school between, like over
Yeah.
the nation, looking for somebody who matches his description, even if he came in under a different name, saying,
Mhm.
"Look, I don't want to know any information. I just want you to know that this child is missing." Um, and I know that I've dropped lots of flyers in many airports, and I know other people have done that. And you know, Sonia, when she sends out the T-shirts, she puts in the flyers of the kids, So
Yes.
I know that he's getting that exposure, and there's a lot of houses green, and I've noticed that it's not just Christmas that houses in my neighborhood are turning green too. So that makes me happy
It
because
does.
they're
It
getting on
does.
the wagon too. But so I
It's
think that
hard
people are
not to.
talking.
It's hard not to when you learn about this case. It's heartbreaking.
It is. And like I wore one of the shirts that I got, and I ran in to get something at a grocery store, and this lady started asking me, well, tell me about your shirt, so that works, by the way. That absolutely works. I wear my bracelets all the time because people ask me about them and I tell them. So I know that his story has gotten to a lot of places.
Yeah.
So I think that is one of the strengths. It is also one of the things that bothers me is that because of all that, because of this exposure, because of like, for those who've seen the Lore Lodge, uh, that was an amazing deep dive. Those three episodes that he did. I mean, I can't
Mhm.
believe that he's a genius. I love
Yeah,
him. He
he
he,
does good work.
yeah, he does. So I mean, and even not stumped because he has his theories and all that, but even he can't say definitively where he is,
Mhm.
how he's doing. Nobody can because nobody knows.
Right.
um I think that's, like I said, both a strength and a weakness, um
Do you
and
think
the
the theory
weakness,
of him walking out willingly is plausible from everything you've learned and all of your experience with your own kid?
not a chance, not a chance.
If
I
your
feel
son
confident in saying that.
And if your son were to run away, what would, not that he did and not that he ever will. Now he's a grown
Mhm.
adult now, but if he had ran away, what items would you think that he would take with him um, to aid that?
He would not have gone without shoes because he doesn't like going barefoot outside that much either. Um,
Okay.
he would have taken his shoes. If it was cold out, he most certainly would have taken a jacket. He's like the only one of mine I don't have to tell to put a jacket on. He doesn't like to be
Hmm.
cold. So, um, as a matter of fact, he just came in and asked my husband if we had any extra little heaters around because his room is getting chilly. So,
Aw,
so
gotcha.
he's sensitive to that.
Hmm.
And he definitely would not have left without his cell phone. Um, he wouldn't have left without, he has a switch now, but back then it would have been, it was the Game Boy things, one of the handheld Game Boy, or one of those games that they've
Yeah.
had so many. Um,
I,
he
I
would have left with
I
that.
was never much of a gamer. I don't know what is out there. I mean, I had a PlayStation 2 or 3 in this house, and it was just for the grandkids. It wasn't for me at all. If I
Yeah,
win them,
well,
that's my luck.
I can tell you that I probably could come up with what's out there, but that's only because I buy Christmas gifts for, my kids. And even though they're all adults now, they all still ask for electronics for Christmas. I don't know why. They just get more
It's the
expensive as
thing.
they
I
get
mean,
older.
yep, it's the thing. Well,
Hmm.
since you're putting everybody on a Christmas list, no, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Let me see what else I've got here going on. Well, oh yeah. Your theories. What do
Oh,
you think happened, and what are those based on?
well, unfortunately, I have two, um, and neither one of them I like, but unfortunately, it's where the facts lead me until I can see something else.
Yeah.
Um, and that is, either they took him someplace, um, and maybe that was a handoff. The flashlights stuff was a, you know, pick up in the middle of the night kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, or something happened at home. Um,
I think we're all kind of split between those two theories because I think a piece of us wants to believe that he's out there somewhere, that these people didn't do anything but just violate custody. That's kind of, I think, in the back of all of our heads. But like for me, it's not really in my head. I can justify a few things. It's the pit of my stomach I can't shake.
that's
For
that's the
me
thing.
personally,
Me too. Me too.
personally.
It's my heart's when I think about it, my heart just kind of sinks and it tells me, I mean, I want to because I believe in hope and all that. So I want to be wrong more than anything on earth.
Hmm.
I don't want to be, that's why I have the two. And I know it's going to be one or the other. And I hope it's the one where he gets to come home.
Yeah, me too. Me too. That's the one I pray for. It's the one I pray for daily. Now, you were in court with me. Now, you've been in court with me several times. Um, what do
I'm
you
a
think
junkie.
about? You know how to ask. It wasn't even on the list, but for people to understand, you've sat on, in our row. You've been there. You're
Mhm.
coming from Minnesota to support me, and I appreciate that. God bless you for that, by the way. But it is part of this case now. They did come after me for doing my job.
Right.
And then what do you think of all of that in conjunction with a missing boy?
I think that it's a deterrent. I think or a detraction. I think
Mhm.
that it was absolutely meant to be, oh, look over here, focus on this, because something I just saw last night made me go, oh, it was going through the interview of Chris and Katie. I don't know where she was, on Queen Bee. And
Mhm.
I was like, okay, so they're going through all this stuff, but all of the stuff he's talking about, that stuff included, and he didn't take her to court. Actually, he befriended her. Um,
Mhm.
and he said that to my knowledge, she's never contacted me. She's never, and went on to say those things like, okay, so now he didn't even know really who you were except for after watching YouTube. So
Mhm.
he took that stuff and ran with it. Um, and so that was the thing. And I had seen the videos. That's what got me into the courtroom, is like I was livid. I could not believe anybody could pull this off. And when I heard that the restraining orders, protective orders, were standard ones, I was like, oh, okay. So when did she do any of this?
Right.
Um, talking about any of them is not, breaking that. It was just, to me, it was just ridiculous. And it was a railroad job meant to deter.
Yeah, I think it had a lot to do with the fact that we've been focusing on them, and I was coming there to do a gathering of voices. Now, typically my MO is when I hone in, I go out in front of their house, which is still, lawful and legal in every single
Right.
50 states since I've been around. So you're still
Hmm.
not breaking the law, but I was very professional in that county opposed to a lot of the other places. And I was just wanting to get your opinion because you've been there in court with me. You've heard them acting, laughing and carrying on in the
Oh,
courtroom when they've got a missing boy. How did that make you feel when you heard all those people laughing and just, enjoying themselves sitting in court?
I was kind of appalled. And also, I couldn't really believe that they were doing that because I didn't actually know who they were at first. And
Mhm.
I was sitting next to Terry Lynn, and I was like, who are those people? Whispering to her. And she said, oh, well, she told me who they were. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. They're in here doing that. And I'm like, okay, so these are those kind of step grandparents where they're really not grandparents. They just happen to have a child who's married to somebody who has a child. Because
That's
there
it.
isn't anybody who would be like that. I've never seen that in my life,
And
anything
you got
like
to you
it.
got to see Katie and Chris and their, how they hold themselves in public,
Yeah.
and they're much different
Hmm.
than the facade that they were trying to display on, other channels and social media. Would that be a true statement or a,
Absolutely. Absolutely
yeah,
true. Um,
that's kind of where I'm lying in it.
yeah. I mean, especially Chris. Katie just kind of blends in the background. I will say that. I don't think she's a shrinking violet, but I will say she blends very well. Um, but Chris, he wants to be seen. He definitely wants to be seen. Um, and I wish that people could see what went on outside the courthouse during the
Mm-hmm.
breaks, and they could see the behaviors and or walking in the hallway, the behaviors that go on there. I couldn't believe that in the courtroom that they were back. Not it wasn't Chris and Katie, but the others were back talking to one of the deputies back there, and they were laughing. And I'm like, okay, do they know these people? And how well? Because they were acting like I would if I met really good friends at the grocery store, you know, that kind of thing. And I'm like, this really isn't the place to be doing that.
It
Um,
was out of place. It was inappropriate.
Absolutely inappropriate. Well, I have to say, so are overalls, because I refuse to believe that those were the best things he had to wear that day.
I gotta say, for our group, we were for them to have more money than most of us. For them to look like a hot mess express in there, they were not dressed for court, in my opinion.
No, and I did have to say, I don't even remember who I was talking to, but I said, those really are the people that have so much money? I like, really? Because wow, um, that okay, you know, I've just never seen people like that, you know.
Yeah. No,
I would
no.
expect to see overalls on somebody who didn't know better, or that was, they were out in the field all day and had to come into court kind of thing. I
Yeah.
could get
Not
that.
roll out of bed, get dressed. This is our court outfit.
Right, that just cracked me up. I was like, whoa.
With
So,
all the content creation and everything going on these platforms, what do you think we need to be focusing on or talking more about as the true crime community when it comes to the Sebastian Rogers case, in your opinion?
um, focusing. I think we need to focus on the facts and get rid of the rumors.
Hmm.
I have noticed that people are talking in the chats. They're talking about things as if they were facts, and
Yes.
and I noticed that I spend a lot of time telling them that's not true, that's not accurate, it's this, or
Hmm.
you know, and things pertaining to the case, because I don't really care about who wants to talk about who and things like that. Whatever, have fun with that. But
Right.
when it comes to having the facts be out there, I want them to be straight up, because I think people would see it a little more clearly if they were actually looking at the facts and not the manufactured drama that's been put out there, because that's not the facts, people. That's just not the facts. And if you hear something that's inaccurate, please correct it. Make sure that the truth is getting out there,
Right.
because this is a little boy who needs to be found. Okay,
Yes.
not a little boy. He is to me,
He's
because
a little
he's
boy to us. He's a little boy
right,
to anybody that's
right.
20 years old or older. Okay.
Exactly. Exactly. And I don't want to take that away from him, because, he was becoming manly. I saw that. Chin
Yeah.
squaring off the whole thing.
Yeah, he's
Um,
he's becoming a big boy, but he's still his
yeah,
dad's baby. We're always
yeah,
I'm 45 years old and I'm still my mom's baby.
exactly. Exactly. And that's the way it'll be. I've got a 34-year-old and he's my big baby. He's
Mhm.
my oldest, and they will all always be my babies. So that's how I think of them. Um, so that child needs to get home. We need to find out what happened to him and where he is. That's it. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter if somebody likes me or they don't like me. I, you
Mhm.
know, that is irrelevant. And I'm sure Seth feels the same about, what people say about him. The only people who seem to care about what people are saying about them comes
Mhm.
from the other side, which
That
to me,
is, yes.
again, that's a big signifier that there's an issue. And it does bother me a lot.
Yeah.
Why
By
would you
nature, I
care?
yeah, but by nature, I think we all want to be liked. Um, but when you have a missing child, it's one of those things where do you really give a crap?
Hmm.
It's so low on the totem pole when you've got a child missing that it seems like the priorities are screwed up when that appears to be the highest priority on the mom and stepdad's list so it appears to
Right.
the public.
And that's what it seems to be, is that's the focus and for them. And it really shouldn't. I mean, and I'm not trying to judge. And I have been very non-critical in the judging
Right,
department, but and I've given a lot of leeway. But
right. You're fair and
there are,
balanced. Right, I get it.
I try. I mean, I'm
Hmm.
human, so I have my moments, but I look at it in the sense of there are parameters around what is normal behavior and what is not. And those are big parameters. So I'm trying to allow for that, but I can't somehow get some of the behaviors back into the parameters. They're outside of them. Um,
Yeah.
and you can't explain that away with, oh, they're just keeping it all inside. And, that. No, they went away for a reason. They didn't
Hmm.
want to be seen. Why? You
Right.
know, those are the questions I have. Oh, I have a list. I have a very long
Yeah, we all
list.
have our list. Yep, yep. My list has not gotten shorter either, which is
Nope,
really
just
weird
gets
because
longer.
yeah, because 10 months in our short we should have, only several questions left to explain. And it's like we've got so many questions that are unexplained and unanswered that it's hard to believe that we're 10 months in and still don't have the answer to some of the simplest and most basic questions. It's very concerning.
It is. It's too long because I mean, you look in other cases, they know what happened, they just can't find. And I'm like, you know what? Something tells me that law enforcement, maybe not Sumner County, um, but I got to believe TBI and FBI have a strong inkling of what has happened.
I do
They
too.
know.
Yeah.
I mean,
If we've got, I always look at it like this. If we got this as being layman people and they have subpoena power and warrants, then they've got a lot more intel than we do. Now, they may not have the smoking guns, so to speak, but they have more intel than we would ever have. And if we have
right,
this little bit of intel that's leading us down this path, I can't imagine what law enforcement truly has. You know,
right.
close to their chest.
I mean, they get to talk to everybody. We don't.
Right.
They don't. We don't. I didn't even know about the whole stuff that we've found out at Texas Roadhouse. I mean, I would love
Mm,
to go talk to their server, the guy who sat them. I've watched that over and over and over again. Just everybody they passed on the way in and out. I would love to talk to them. The police could do that.
mhm.
Um, so they've got a lot more information than we do. Um, and if I have enough, it, not enough, but if I have enough to have an inkling of what has transpired, I think they probably know. They're just
Mhm.
waiting for some pieces to fall into place.
Since you've been covering this case, what would you like see happen in the Sebastian Rogers case?
Number one thing I would like, and I hate to say it because I am a back the blue kind of girl, but
Mhm.
I would like to see, like we were talking about in the John Benet Ramsey case, that I would like to see um, Sumner County step aside and let FBI and TBI take over completely. Just turn the case over to them and get that whole chain out of it, because I think that would really do a lot. Um,
Right.
and it would restore people's faith in, because there's a lot of people who are looking at giving the Seth side eye to the Sumner County. Yeah,
Right. And I think the failure to answer some of the basic questions like is there ties between their family and law and Sumner County? They wouldn't answer that question. They
right,
wouldn't answer really if he has friends in the department. Those things make, I think, anybody very uneasy when he's had such poor behavior. Just my opinion.
right, exactly. I think I agree with you wholeheartedly, and that's why I think that getting the case out of their hands um, would probably be really, really good, because I think
Mhm.
people could understand um, why they would want to. because of all the accusations that have been lodged at them, because of
Yeah.
their conduct with the whole thing with you. Um,
Hmm.
they have not conducted themselves in a way that gives any reason to trust them. Um, People don't even like to see them when they're driving around in that area. um, you see one of their cars and you're like, oh, goody. But I will say that every time I've gone with Terry to go searching, I'll be dang if they don't show up at some point in time in our going around. We see them every time. So
Makes you feel like big brotherish a little bit, don't you think?
absolutely. Oh, they're keeping an eye on things. They most definitely are.
Right.
Which I
Do
started
you
laughing and saying, "Well, come and get me then."
Right. So let me ask you this. Do you think that this case will be solved either eventually at some point? Do you think this case will be solved?
I do. I
You
do.
do?
One of two things will happen. Either um, Sumner County will get out of the way and let others come in and handle it, or
Hmm.
it'll be solved by accident. I don't think it's going to be solved on purpose if it's not already solved. You know what I mean?
Right.
If they don't already know everything, then it's going to be solved on accident. Somebody's going to stumble
Stumble
across
across something.
something. Yep.
I didn't even
So,
think about that, but yeah, you're probably right. Somebody's gonna. That's usually how things do get solved. Somebody, basically trips upon the golden nugget. The little sliver of information that breaks the case wide open. Um,
absolutely.
just dumb luck, so in some cases, and that's just how it is.
Divine intervention, some people might, I mean,
Hmm.
that's the way. So I think but that really is the only way I see it being solved is one of those two things. Because if
Gotcha.
it's going the way it is now, I don't have a lot of hope for it. But I do, because I'm hope in the shadows. That's what
Yeah.
the whole name is about. Even at the darkest
Aw.
moment, there's hope. Always
Yeah.
hope.
Oh, that's that. I like that. That does make a lot of sense. Now, this is just going to be on a little bit of more of a personal note before we get into Q&A from the chat and your final words. Um, what is the one interesting things that people don't know about you that they should?
Well, I kind of already said it that I'm a gamer. I don't
Okay,
play
yeah.
video games, but I do play D&D.
That
I'm
is shocking, though. I have to be honest with you. That is pretty shocking. So
Most
how do
people
you
are shocked.
compete? Are you up
Hmm?
there like tier wise, or are you on the bottom and the rest of the family? But where's everybody score at?
Well, I mean, my husband's the OG. He's been playing since he was, a teenager. So he's kind of the leader of the pack there. The
Gotcha.
good thing, what I like about it is it's not very competitive. It's more
Right.
like enacting a story with a good
Hmm.
plot line, and I absolutely love a good plot line. So there's that.
Delilah just heard your dog in the background and started whimpering in my lap.
That's Luna, and tell Delilah that she's about the size of Luna's head. Although I think Luna's head might be bigger.
There she is. She's
Yeah,
never too
oh,
far from me.
hi, baby. I miss you.
Oh, you got to meet her. That's right. You got to meet her personally. That's right. That's right. I forgot about that. I told you when we came back, she'd yell at us, and she didn't just yell at me.
Certainly
She yelled
did.
at you guys too.
Like, where did you take my mom? It was so cute. That was very sweet.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm going to open this up for Q&A. If
Okay.
anybody has any questions for Gypsy or would like to know a little more about her, I know that my mods have been dropping her link in chat, so don't forget to go over there and sub her up. You seem like a normal YouTuber. We always like normal YouTubers.
I'm pretty normal with the big dogs. I have two.
Aw.
She's being lippy
Yeah.
right now.
She's
But
she's she's more than I can handle right now. I'll tell you that. But I love every
it,
minute of it.
that's good. That is very good. So I love your mods, by the way. They're all
Oh
wonderful.
yeah. They are very, very sweet. So if for people don't know, D&D stands for Dungeons and Dragons. It looks like there's several people that have subbed. I have Luna Blue Healer. I don't know what that means. I have a Luna Blue Healer. Have you ever heard of that? It must be a dog, some type of
Oh,
dog.
oh yeah. No, mine are half Pyrenees and half Newfoundland. So
Mine's mine's half Chihuahua, half Bullhorn. So
she's so cute.
half Chihuahua, half Bullhorn.
That's
I
awesome.
love
I have
that. I
cows,
love that.
basically.
Well, I do want to tell you, we made it to an hour. I told you that
Wow.
we had an hour show just by our conversation. You did great. You did amazing. I know you were a little nervous. I told you it'd be like just talking to a friend.
I was not nervous because I've not done that before. I mean, in front of people,
Yeah.
but I can't see them, and I purposely didn't turn chat on, so I can't
Oh, well,
see that either.
it's all been really, really, really good. Everybody thanking you. A lot of people subbed up to your channel.
Oh, that's
Um,
wonderful.
yeah, and then what else do we have? I don't really have any questions. So, I mean, it's been a great interview. What are any final words that you would like to say before I close out, either about you, your channel, or the Sebastian Rogers case?
I'm going to say about my channel. Most importantly, the reason I did it was because of kids mostly. I had a friend who called me up and said, "Hey, my kid's missing." And we went out and we looked, and he was found. He'd been roofied, and he was beat
Wow.
up and unrecognizable in the hospital. So that to me just went, these, kids just need to be protected. And that was where Hope in the Shadows came from, because we did not give up hope. I mean, granted, it was only like a week, I think, but we gathered around her and helped and to do whatever. And I will tell you, not once did she turn away anybody's help.
Yeah. Nobody
Not
does. When
once.
you're missing a child, you'll take your worst enemy's help.
Exactly. Even her ex-husband, who she didn't like,
Yep.
he was there, and we needed him to go get more masking tape, and he would do it. And he went out and helped us put up the flyers everywhere. So I've seen the opposite of Sebastian's case, which is why I really, really, when I heard that, I'm like, all right, time to jump. It's because I've thought about it for a while, but it was my
Mm.
time to jump. That was my sign. So,
Gotcha. Well, I just want to tell you, you're a great interviewee. You did an amazing job. People absolutely thank you and said you are
aw.
amazing and you did an amazing job. So that is from the audience. I'm
Oh, I
very,
love
very
them.
thankful. I got a chance to bring you up, and I hope we do this again. This was a very good conversation. I love this. I,
Yeah,
I absolutely love this.
I think it's helpful.
So I'm going to go ahead and drop you down, and I'm going to do a
All right.
closeout, and I'm going to play a little section, and then we're going to be kind of done. So thank
All
you so
right.
much. It was lovely. If everybody enjoyed it, please put clappy hands in the chat. Clappy hands in the chat. I'm going to let you go to the chat and see
Okay.
all of the clappy hands. My Delilah's starting to whimper, so it's almost time for her to go
Mm,
out potty. So I've got about 5 more minutes left, and I got a sign
okay.
off here.
All right.
So
Sounds good.
thank you, Gypsy. It's been lovely.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Mhm. Bye-bye. All right, guys. So, look at all those clappy hands. I don't know what's wrong with Delilah. She's got like hiccups and now she's starting to cough a little bit. I don't know. I thought Gypsy did an amazing job. She did it like a pro. So, just congratulations. It was great. I really did enjoy that interview. Um, So I wanted to read a statement to you guys before I take Delilah out. I don't know why she's whimpering here, but she is. I think she might hear a friend out there. Here, why don't you just get down and go play? There we go. She might whine just a little bit. Oh, Grace upon Grace gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. I'm going to go through all of this stuff. Actually, maybe I should do that. Let me go through the thank you, and then I'll give you guys my update. Shelly became the newest member of the Bullhorn Betty crew. Michelle gifted 1 Bullhorn Betty membership. Elizabeth said, thank you for all you do. Sonia says, love you, BHB. We have 1 gifted membership from Lori. Terry is a 3-month member. Thank you for your love and support. For Crying Out Loud, oh, I love that. 1-month member. Thank you. Jen, thank you, BHB and Gypsy. Amazing. Let's take a minute. Let's take a minute to talk about how Gorg BH. Oh, thank you. Thank you. The Real Me Too, Gypsy, you're amazing. Grace Upon Grace gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership, and Betty's blinging it. You guys are crazy. 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. Thank you so much. We did not meet our goal this evening. We did not meet our goal. At least I don't think we met our goal. Let me go over to my side and see what we got over here on this side to see if we met the goal. Oh wow, we didn't even get half the goal. We didn't even get half the goal. If somebody gets us to 1 more, I will go ahead and play the clip. I will play that beautiful bean footage. It's only going to be a small section of you guys saw the intro. Oh, Carson, thanks for becoming the newest member of this crazy growing Golden Coffee Club. And so I'm going to play this small section of the Benet Ramsey. And the only reason why I'm playing it is because this is all I've been working on. So I don't have much to trade with over here for the goal. I don't have anything to trade with over here. So looks like I'm going to have to take my I won't take my background off. Let me move this up if I can. Do it this way. Oh, Hope in the Shadows, Gypsy. Thank you. God bless you. You were amazing, by the way. Like I said, I'm going to have to take my background off. Okay, no more pretty background. No more pretty background. Let's take the background off. Virtual background is coming down now. My kitchen. I was going to do in the office and chose not to. So here is the only section. My thing broke. My new, not the one that was purchased for me. This is not the one that has the 2-sided to it. And I screw stripped out, so I had to get a little bit ingenuity here, and I couldn't figure out how to tighten it, so I got this to work to go in about that far. So I pulled it out and put a nut on it, and I was able to clamp the damn thing. Thank goodness. But now it looks kind of funky. So I think I've turned my, which it could always be used as a weapon, but I think I've turned it into more of a weapon, I won't lie. Okay, this is the only tidbit I am going to share with you. And then after this, I'm not sharing another damn thing with you until this thing is done.
What happened to his daughter, Benet Ramsey? Let's take a look at this case. When I think of the Benet Ramsey case, it's hard not to think about Loose Snip.
That's it. That's it. That's all. Betty MacGyver. We got a new Betty. We got a new Betty. Betty MacGyver. Betty MacGyver. We got a new Betty. So that is the last section that you guys will ever see of the Benet Ramsey documentary before it drops. Okay, I'm not sharing anymore. You guys already got the trailer, you already got to see the intro, and now you guys got to see a juicy section of the documentary. That's it. That's all you guys are going to see. That's all I'm bargaining with. From here on out, I'm going to have to start wearing a hat and tap dancing for you to get to my goal, because Benet Ramsey is off the table. That is is it. That's all you guys get to see from this point forward. When it drops, it drops. But I just wanted you guys to know it's not going to be a normal video that we do here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Occasionally, I really get creative. I did it in Summer Wells. I've done it in the Alec Murdaugh. And I am now doing it in the John Benet Ramsey case because I truly believe John Ramsey needs a little Bullhorn Betty. And I've been watching this. You guys know we were watching it for the last year, 2 years. We did a push for the DNA to get out of Boulder, Colorado, and go to the Colorado forensics, an independent forensic outfit. That didn't happen. And so I truly believe at some point we're going to be in front of the Boulder, Colorado Police Department with a huge showing of support for John Ramsey and his pursuit to find the answers to his daughter's case. We're going to be demanding Boulder, Colorado Police Department to stop obstructing their own case and to fix the damage that they've done and to solve this case. I'm not sure when this is going to go on. I have put my sights on this case. I have put my sights on the purpose of why we're doing it. It's been 30 years. The Boulder, Colorado Police Department are still playing games, and we're no closer to solving this solvable case today as we were on December 26, 1996. So at some point, the Bullhorn Betty channel is going to be out in Boulder, Colorado. When is that going to happen? We don't know. That's up to the law enforcement department out there and whether they're wanting to move out of their own way and start working to have this case resolved and solved. Because John deserves answers. Patsy didn't get those answers. And at the end of the day, John's got grandchildren. And they deserve to know about their grandfather and put all of those things that the Boulder, Colorado Police Department put out there in the public. They deserve vindication. Vindication. That man has never been vindicated. And he deserves to be vindicated. And Boulder, Colorado Police Department needs to get their crap together and do what's right for this beautiful girl that still, after 30 years, deserves justice. They made huge and critical errors, and they need to undo it. And they need to start working for resolution in this case. And keep pointing the fingers at the parents ain't fixing this problem. A lot of us feel the way we feel. This doesn't feel like a mom and dad brutally attacked this child. We've seen child abuse. We've seen the worst of the worst when it comes to parents. This feels like something totally different than what we are accustomed to dealing with. So, BHB, watch the documentary on Max too about John. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of research. I've been watching a lot of videos to make sure my timeline's in order. Certain documentaries pick up certain details and facts that go with their narrative of the documentary. So I'm having to watch a lot of them. That's how I found out about the cult member. Not everybody has the cult member in their documentary. We're going to be covering the cult member. We're going to be covering the homeless guy. We're going to be covering potential family and friends being responsible. I think it's lower on the totem pole. I really think that this is a stranger danger situation. And I truly believe that December 22nd, whether it was the cult member or the homeless guy, I think they targeted her at that moment. I think when she was in that shopping center, I think, a pedo of some sort came into her world and didn't even know it. I feel bad for Patsy that she's gone and she never gets to know the answers that she seeks. But a piece of me believes she's finally with her baby girl, which she loved greatly. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for getting to know Gypsy, learning a little bit about her, her and her channel. as well as her opinions on the Sebastian Rogers case, which is how she crossed paths with Bullhorn Betty. And so I thought it was very important to get that on there. Now, before we leave, I have my own personal update that I did not post today on Facebook or Twitter, which I usually do. I've been trying to do daily posts and I haven't done it. So I wanted to make sure that I got my statements out to each and every one of you before we ended the show. So this is my typing. Thank you, Eeyore Blues. God bless you guys. The disappearance of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, who vanished on February 26, 2024, continues to deeply concern our community. Despite extensive efforts, critical questions remained unanswered. Investigators are seeking information on individuals seen carrying lights and walking to an unidentified vehicle near the Rogers home, actually the Proudfoot home, but it's where Sebastian Roger lived the night Sebastian disappeared. Another focus is identifying the individual in a green hoodie seen at the Texas Roadhouse the same evening. Most recently, spokesperson Tony Mathis traveled to Virginia, though details of any findings remain unclear. Adding to this tragedy, reports of alleged abuse within the home, including 5 Child Protective Services reports on the stepfather, have fueled concerns about Sebastian's safety before his disappearance. The reward for information stands at $225,155. We urge anyone with knowledge to step forward. Please contact Sumner County Sheriff's Office at 615-451-3838. Oh, thank you, Ginger. Woohoo! God bless you guys. Or the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations at 1-800-TBI-FINE. In the alternative, you can reach out to Dog the Bounty Hunter's tip line. Together, we can bring answers and justice for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. I want to thank everybody in here for all your love and support. Thank you for getting to know Gypsy and a little bit about who she is. She's such a lovely person. You guys get why I really do like her and why she, to be honest with you, we knew I didn't have court on the 20th. One of the reasons why we chose to move on with the case and I take Delilah with me is because she was going to be there and we did not want to leave one of our people stranded behind, right? So we chose to move forward with our trip, and I was very, very blessed. And it wasn't the first time I met Gypsy. Gypsy has really been a strong supporter of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, Seth Rogers, and of course Bullhorn Betty. Black Hawk, I also want to call you out as well. Black Hawk 57 Magnum. I have been watching some of your stuff. As a matter of fact, probably tonight, I was doing another live tonight at 10. I'm going to move that over to 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. This is not going to be our call-in live show. Our call-in live show will be tomorrow afternoon, probably about 6:30, where I'm going to be asking you guys to tell me your thoughts, opinions, and theories about this, who you think some people are, and what you think would be the best strategy moving forward. So Black Hawk 57 Magnum, I came across one of your pieces that you did, and I just want to thank you for that. I didn't realize you had a channel. I would like, if you can reach out to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I'd love to pick your brain and maybe bring you on my show and get people to learn a little more about you. I would really enjoy that. So please reach out to me at bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. And it's always good to get a collection of good content creators that are seeking the truth. It's what's missing here on this platform. A lot of people go for the glitz and glamour, titles. Yes, we all have to have things that draw people in, but facts is one of those things that draw people in. And that's one of the places that I like to be, is in that place of fact. And there's a lot of fact in this case. And so there's no need for people to get passing around mis or disinformation related to the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case. Again, guys, I just want to give a big shout out to my beautiful Moderators, thank you for holding the fort down while we did the interview. Don't forget to tell our mods, thank you for all the work that they do. They have been with me for literally years. I haven't really added any to the clan in a really long time. They're just amazing, and I'm very blessed to have each and every one of them. Thank you for all of the members and the subscribers here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Please don't forget to like this and get this out further and further. It's all about collaborating and using our noggin to try to do some good and bring a child home. Let's continue this momentum. And don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe. But more importantly, it's holidays, and we must, and I say must, be kind to one another. God bless, guys.
From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you. God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims.